Hello, welcome back to Silver Thread Sewing. I'm Diane. This is Friday Sews. I have a few things I wanted to share with you this week, nothing earth-shattering or anything, but I did finish my dress, the Simple Sew Grace dress that I wanted to show you, as well as some others of that pattern that I've made in the past. So first I'll tell you what I'm wearing. This shirt is Butterick 6687. And I made it in view C, which is this one. It's a pretty simple top. It's really pretty, but the version I made has ruching down the sleeves. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but I'll put in some pictures or a little video or something of the sleeves. That's really the only special thing about it is these sleeves. I've made it in a flannel too, a heavier weight flannel. And I didn't really think that fabric would ruche up as well as it did, but I like it a lot, and I wear it all the time when it's cold. And I just finished it with a button and a loop in the back. But back to my grace dress. It's the Simple Sew Grace dress that I've been talking about. And I've always made the round neck with cap sleeves. And this time, on the blue cotton fabric, I decided to make the V-neck. And I still planned to do the cap sleeves. And I'll insert some pictures of me wearing the dress. I really like the way this dress fits me. I'm not sure that I like the sleeveless, but the cap sleeves are just tight and they bug me. So this time, after I had already cut it out and got the sleeves cut out and everything, I changed my mind and decided to leave it sleeveless. So by doing that, I have a little bit of gaping around the armhole, but that's totally my fault because I changed my mind midstream. But I've made, the first version of that dress I made was a yellow background cotton fabric that had beautiful pink roses on it. I think I have a thing about roses too, besides strawberries. But anyway, I made that one and love it. It fits me so good, and I lined the whole dress. It calls for the bodice to be lined, but I lined the skirt too, so I didn't have to worry about a slip because the fabric is a little bit thin. And that fabric, I think, came from fabric.com a long time ago. Then I made the green version, and that fabric was kind of a test fabric. I was testing a new to me fabric store. I think that one was fabrichwholesaledirect.com, and I didn't want to buy a lot of fabric without testing the quality. And I think that fabric cost like $4.99 a yard. It was inexpensive, fairly inexpensive. And so I got like 3 yards of that. And I lined it with a really pretty solid color green. I did not put the pockets in that one. I don't need that extra bulk at the hip, and I didn't put the pockets. Other than that, it's exactly like the first version. Then I made a beautiful border print cotton that came from fabric.com a couple years ago, and I made it into the same dress. The only thing I did differently, instead of making the pleated skirt, I just cut the width of the fabric, so a large rectangle, and cut another large rectangle for the back and just split that down the middle. And instead of the pleats, I just gathered the skirt, and then I used a piece of the border print as the band, the waist, kind of the waistband. But love that dress. Again, the only complaint I have is the cap sleeves are kind of annoying when you have to move your arms. And I really like this one. It's the first V-neck I've made, and I feel like it kind of, it's because of my forward shoulders, I'm sure, but it just kind of, it doesn't hang exactly right around that V-neck, so I kind of wish I went ahead and made the round neck, but I decided to be adventurous and try that. So anyway, I like all 4 of them. Probably won't make it again for a while just because once I get a pattern that I like, I tend to make it to death. And I'm really trying to branch out and try some new patterns. So even if I get one I like, I make a note of it and which fabric I used. And that way, if I want to make it again in the future, I can. But I'd really like to make some new to me patterns. I have several that I haven't used. So what I'm working on now is the chalk and notch Wren blouse. And this is the front cover of that. And I've traced the pattern and am almost ready to cut the fabric. And I'll put a picture in. It's a pink cotton lawn fabric. And it came from Fabric Mart Fabrics about a year ago probably. I've not seen it on their site since then. But it's real pretty and pink and has white flowers and it looks like springtime. So I want to do that. Hopefully I'll get it made up in the next couple days. I had a hard time tracing that pattern, and I'll tell you why. It was on regular pattern paper, but when I put my tracing paper, my medical paper that I use to trace, I put it over that pattern, and I had a really hard time seeing because the lines are, it's got all the sizes in one, and I did buy the pattern, the printed pattern instead of the PDF. But the intersections and the lines are so close together, and I was having a really hard time seeing them through the paper. So what I wound up doing, I had saw a video of Peggy Sager's on Silhouette Patterns once, and the way she recommended tracing a pattern if you wanted to trace it, she would take and iron her pattern and lay it out flat, and she would take the medical paper and put that down first and then lay her pattern on top of the tracing paper. And she would take a Sharpie and just simply trace over the line carefully. That way she didn't mess up any of the other sizes, and she only traced her size that she was going to cut out. Then when she would raise that pattern up, the Sharpie had bled through enough to where you could just, if you wanted to go back over it, you could with a regular marker or something, but you wouldn't have to. It showed up really well. Just, it would bleed through the pattern paper. Now, I did that with this one because I was struggling to see through the tracing paper, and it worked out really well. The pattern looks fine. It was just hard for me with that many lines because there was a lot of lines to try to follow for all those sizes. So I think it's worked out well. It just has a solid black line on the size that I traced. So I'll let you know how that goes next week. But so far it went well, and I have my pattern pieces just laid out on my fabric. They're not cut or anything yet. And I think that's about it. The dress and the Wren blouse, and there's a couple other things that I would like to get made soon. I really need tops. I just don't have any summer tops hardly. So that's still, I'm yammering on about that. And on the life front, everything's about the same. My dad yesterday was, he was a little bit better. He was talking and seemed clear-headed, and he's still not eating very much. He ate a little bit of ice cream. But, if you're a praying person, just pray for him because he's having a pretty hard time and hard to watch him struggle this way. But we've all, I guess, at my age, I guess most everybody has been through that. And I know a lot of people a lot younger than me that have already, been through all that. So it's just, when it's you, and it's hard. But I've got some cleaning to do. I'm gonna have to start spring cleaning the house soon, and I have put that off to the bitter end. So I've got to get curtains washed and all the things. But I find myself just wanting to come down here and sew and forget about the housework. And I wanted to thank everybody who has liked my little videos and subscribed and commented, and you've just really made me very happy. It's made the experience very good for me, and I appreciate it so much. I hope that you will get a little something out of whatever I show, and maybe inspired to do something of your own. My sewing room video, it was the longest one I've ever done, so I was a little anxious about that, but everyone was so kind about it, and I appreciate it, and hope that it inspired you to do something. We don't have to have a lot of stuff, and we don't have to have a lot of space. But when we have it, we're thankful and we make the best of what we have. So that's the most important thing. Thanks again to Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room for starting the Friday Sews hashtag. And thank you to everyone who videos under that hashtag. I have found so many people that I love to watch, and I've learned so much from all of you and enjoy it and look forward to it from one Friday to the next. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. I hope I've not taken too much of your time. And remember, the only way that we will fail at sewing is if we stop trying. So never stop trying. See you soon. Bye.